In 2013 and 2014, I experienced two very traumatic ectopic pregnancies. During the first one, I almost lost my life, and we of course lost our first baby. These experiences have tremendously affected my life and everyone around me. Today I'm here to talk a little bit about the feeling of isolation and loneliness you feel after experiencing the trauma of losing a baby. Even though I have the most wonderful family and friends and loving husband, I truly don't think I've ever felt as lonely and isolated as I did after my ectopic pregnancies. Nobody truly understands what it feels like unless you have had the same experience. Physically, your body recovers well and quite fast, but mentally, I truly don't believe that you ever fully recover. It's a very long process and definitely an ongoing process. I went through having all the feelings that you have after a traumatic event. Feeling anger, sadness, loneliness, emptiness, frustration, feeling that everything was extremely unfair. And the one thing that eventually really helped me was finding an amazing therapist. I have always been one of those people that didn't think that I would ever need therapy, but this is the one thing that has truly, truly helped me. Here in Sweden, after an ectopic pregnancy or a miscarriage, there is no follow-up as far as your mental state. There's definitely follow-ups for the physical aspects, but nobody follows up to see how you're doing emotionally or mentally. So I didn't get any help from the hospital after I was discharged, and I had to find the help on my own. So I reached out to a therapist at the hospital where I work, and luckily I did, because when I saw her for the first time, she told me that I was in severe crisis and having symptoms of PTSD, and that I had reached out to her just in time before things got significantly worse for me. During our therapy, we had many talking sessions, just talking through the events that had happened before and after my surgeries, talking about loss and how to deal with that, talking about how it's okay to feel sad and angry, and how it's okay to have good days and to have bad days. We also used some CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, as a base for trying to help me, and using some of those techniques to help me cope, and also to give me tools to help my husband and I deal with the situation. And the great thing about therapy is that she has given me tools that I can now use in my daily life. Even though it's been 7 and 6 years ago, this is something that still affects me every day. I feel a whole lot better, 100% better than I did then. But the line between feeling good and not feeling good is extremely close now, whereas before they were quite far apart. And I think it's important to remember that recovery is very individual and definitely an ongoing process. They say that time heals all things. I would say that time makes things maybe a little easier to deal with, but they definitely don't completely heal, or at least that hasn't been the case for me yet. I also think it's important to remember that loneliness isn't something that anyone around you always can help you with, because it's something that comes very much from inside. Another one of the great coping mechanisms that I found was finding the EPT, finding a group of peers that truly understand what I've gone through, because most of them have gone through it themselves, was fantastic and has been a huge part of my recovery, and is a place where I can turn for support whenever I need it, and I'm extremely grateful for that. During these really difficult times of COVID-19, isolation and loneliness is something finally that people are talking about around the world. And just like many other people, or maybe all of us, I think we've all felt extra isolated because of the situation. And even though I work in a hospital and I've worked with COVID-19 patients, we have also, of course, isolated ourselves from family and friends during this time. And it does bring back a lot of memories of how I felt after my ectopic pregnancies. I have felt very isolated, and it's been a really tough time. And like I said earlier, recovering from this is definitely an ongoing process, and now I think I'm a lot more aware of my feelings and my reactions to different things, and also how to cope with different situations and feelings that I experience in my daily life. And when I start feeling sad and lonely, I know how to deal with that, and I also know where to reach out for help, which I feel is super important for everyone. So if you have experienced ectopic pregnancy or any type of baby loss, I think the most sound advice that I could give to you is to make sure that you take care of yourself and get the help that you feel that you need. Don't ever be afraid to reach out to anyone, a therapist, or whoever it might be. We at the EPT are also here to help you, so please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Like for me, it's definitely been a lifesaver.